Thanks, Vin. I've got a good response for that. So art to me is one of the purest expressions of what it means to be human. It comes from that creative energy that we all carry, whether we call it inspiration or imagination, as it's already been mentioned, or even something deeper, like utilizing our sacral chakra. That same energy that creates life also can create beauty, meaning, chaos, and structure through art. And whether it's visual, musical, or something else entirely, that creative spark is part of who we are. I truly feel that. When we talk about the value of art, perspective comes into play. And it really is, to me, in the eye of the beholder. So, what one person sees as genius, another might completely dismiss. But at the same time, there are these shared ideas in society, often shaped by culture or conditioning, that tells us what is valuable or great art, so to speak. Someone might look at Jackson Pollock's work and say, well, that's just paint splattered on a canvas. But there's something in the randomness or what looks like chaos that speaks to people. And it's almost like the art makes sense once it connects to something inside of you. And that's to me where the value lives. I've been very fortunate where I've had the chance to see some major amazing artwork in person, Van Gogh, Michelangelo, and what hits me every time is it's not just the skill, but the fact that these were people, like actual human beings who followed their calling even when the world told them not to. When I think of Michelangelo, his father thought he was wasting his life. Initially, he struggled and he doubted, and yet he still created some of the most impactful works of art in history, whether it was sculpture, whether it was painting, the Sistina Capella, um, the just unbelievable. But he was eventually supported by the Medici family for sure, but it started with faith in his own vision. And, we talk about, Kirsten mentioned music. Um, Art isn't just visual, of course. I think about music and I take someone like Ozzy Osbourne, for example, who's just recently passed. I started playing the electric guitar because of Sabbath. And I thought that was, I think of, his music wasn't everyone's cup of tea. But if it weren't for him, whole branches of music might not even exist. Um, and that is like to me the ripple effect of following your heart as an artist. It inspires. That if I had one word, it's inspired, inspires others. It breaks molds and it changes what comes next. It shapes our culture, our future, and it's in every part of the world. And as Drake mentioned, I mean, it's not just our time. We're talking, many, many eons ago that we've seen this happening. Um, and also too, what's sacred to one culture might another culture might not understand at all. And that's kind of the point though, because art is an expression and it's a connection. It doesn't always need to make sense. It just needs to be real to the person interpreting it. And for me, I guess that's why I also like to create. I paint. I do a lot of photography. Grew up with a dad who's professional photographer, so we had, like, a dark room in the house and everything. It was our 2nd bathroom. And, I've put my own musical pieces together and renditions for the sound baths that I create and lead. So I might not be a Michelangelo or an Ozzy Osbourne, but I feel what I create still matters. And it's my way of expressing myself, and that has value, um, because I know it's part of who I am. When I was 3 years old, I my mom had a lot of makeup, and I used to take her lipstick, and I would draw with her lipstick. She obviously wasn't watching me at the time, but they could put me in a corner all through my childhood with, paper, pencils, crayons, whatever it was, and I would just immerse myself into that, and it was absolutely wonderful, and I'm so grateful as an adult that I'm still able to do things like that. So, not with lipstick anymore, though.